Precious! Brilliant! Mule with it. Wood's got around the back. And Richie Wood has done it again! The magic man has come up with another trick! Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done! It's Georgie Kelly! Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us. We have another positive to draw on. Only a point, but a very good, well-earned point for us at Watford on Saturday afternoon. Plenty of positives to pick through, as we will pick through them. Could have been 3, could have been none. One of those afternoons. So we'll pick through all that within the next hour or so. So thank you for being with us. Michael is with us first. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. Do you want me to mention your shirt now? Should we get this out of the way? That you're buzzing about the shirt you're wearing?
Why would you want to mention that?
Well, you're wearing it for a reason. I thought you were looking for some attention. So
I'm always looking for attention. That's why I do this, mate.
Okay. All right. Danny's with us. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm all right, thank you. How are we all doing, guys?
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate.
Good.
Kev Johnson's back with us. How are you doing, Kev?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Very good.
Good to have you with us. We'll start with you, Kev. You want to mention some shirts you've got to sort of raffle off and raise some money for charity, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah. It's for Rotherham Hospice. Sam Todd and the club's going to tweet some out tomorrow. We'll follow up. Basically, we've got some match worn FA Cup shirts from the Ipswich game. So crap game, but decent shirts. We've got 6 in total. We've got Barlasser, Kioso, Humphries, Lindsay, Ogbenny, and Ferguson. So everyone's gonna have a chance to win. We'll probably do some raffle or spin the wheel or something, and then a few on auction. So everyone's got a chance, yeah.
Well, so to follow you on Twitter, Kev, they'll be able to find everything there in the next couple of days, won't they?
Yes, yeah.
So if you're not following Kev, go follow Kev, and we'll share it as well as when it comes up as well.
Yeah.
And we also let's start the show with obviously the tragic news of Henry Evans passing away on Friday. We want to start this and get this mentioned, Danny. There's the Just Giving page been set up by his close family and friends. Let's start with people want to help and donate to that. Do you have the link for that?
I can certainly get the link up for you guys. But yeah, I didn't know Henry personally. I'm going to put that straight out before we start. But any help to his GoFundMe page just to give him, just a nice send off would be muchly appreciated by all his friends and family. I can't find the link just yet, but I will get the link and send it across, and then we'll tweet it out. So anybody who's willing to help, whether it's £2 or £5, just wherever you can. I'm going to start by saying the tribute to him at Watford was absolutely class. That was fantastic. We got that sorted, and they got a picture of him on the big screen. And if there are any Watford fans that went to the game, thank you for joining in with the minute's applause and getting all 4 stands doing it. And it was quite fitting that literally the minute after the minute's applause, we scored our first goal. So that was a nice bit of a thing for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it were. Yeah, football's great at coming together at times, at tragic times. I think, like you said, Watford deserves all the credit in the world for organising that at their own stadium and joining as well. So, and obviously thoughts and everything to his family as well. It's a very extremely tough time for them. So, thoughts with them. Right, let's talk about the game. We'll start with loads of comments here about performances. Let's just start with the goal because it's just an easy place to start. No, let's start with the lineup because there's mentions in there. There was one change, Mick. Tarek Fosu came in for Connor Washington. We talked briefly about Tarek Fosu signing. He hadn't signed when we did the last episode. Had Connor Washington been there, he may not even started. But it was exciting, and it was exciting to see Fosu come in, and we'll talk about his miss later on. But it's very, very good to see an almost unchanged lineup. It would have been unchanged, all doing things we all wanted, which is probably one of the first times this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things we've been kind of crying out for, particularly at back, innit? For the last, I don't know how long. And it's only ever going to benefit you to having a settled side and everything else. And like you said, Foster's come in place of Connor Washington, whose wife's having a baby. So good luck to them, or congratulations, depending which way where they are in the process, or commiserations. You know what I mean? For those of us who've got kids, you'll understand that. But yeah, he's done really well, considering that he's only come in on Thursday, Friday, not had any meaningful training time with the squad. He's fitted in really, really well, and had a good game, and obviously was, I guess, got the assist for the goal, if you like. Will create an assist. So yeah, good signing, as we thought, and I think he's probably got a lot more to bring.
Yeah, I'd say, Kevin, it's almost an unchanged lineup. More importantly, an unchanged back 4-5 if you include Victor. And it was obvious that would happen. It just looked, the team looked settled, didn't it? From the first minute, it looked a settled team. And that's one of the things that contributed to our bad run of form, was they just looked unsettled, and it was just led into a good performance.
Yeah, I think you're right. It looks so composed and comfy at back as well. There were a minute in first half, and I think it was Sarr or the other guy up front for Watford. And Cameron Humphries had a race with him 1-on-1, and he weren't even out of second gear, Cameron Humphries, and he absolutely blitzed him. And I'm like, they just look fitter, we look comfortable, and we can build on that. I think that's what Taylor had to get right at the defence. So we were leaking goals, sort that out, and then build on that. We get another 1 or 2. We still obviously desperately need a striker, a goal scorer. But yeah, so far so good.
Very much so. Tom Ayres in the comments saying great result, performance was key. Yeah, correctly to Tom, who got the prediction right. He came on last episode, got the 1-1 correct. So well done, Tom. Very good on that one. Shelley says,
Did he back it though? Did he back it with the bookies? That's what I want to know.
Probably not. No.
Speaking of bookies, right, I have a bone to pick with Fozu because I just thought, I have a feeling he's going to score in this game. So I put a £2 bet on him to score any time. Could have won 22, and then he couldn't hit a bull's arse with a banjo at that opportunity, could he? I was fuming.
You weren't the only one that was fuming. Yeah. Sarah C says, very good point yesterday. Almost feels like a loss, though. Have we been that good in the last 2 games, or have they just had 2 off days? I sort of cover that now, Danny. For me, it's us. It's all down to us. These aren't Blackpool and Cardiff and teams like that. They were both teams that we've played, and they both may say they had off days. I mean, Blackburn definitely had an off day, but we were the reason we've picked up 4 points from 2 games. I think, anyway. What do you think?
I'm inclined to agree. To be fair, I mean, going into the Blackburn game, I don't think any of us were really that confident. And then this team turned up that we just didn't expect. And the same team turned up against Watford, I think. There was slightly less blitz about it because obviously Watford had a little bit of preparation because they've obviously seen the Blackburn game and how we played in that. So there was a bit more prep there. But, some of the runs we were making and the football we were playing, it were like, this feels like the Rotherham team that we had before the World Cup. Whatever they've talked about in the dressing room and applied onto the pitch, it's beginning to stick now. And even the goal that we scored, the build-up play to that was fantastic. It was a bit of a right place, right time for Ferguson, I will admit. But even with Fozu's missed chance, just carved Watford open like I haven't seen for months. And I think it is now everything's just starting to stick, and Taylor's getting in the players that he knows will improve us. And like we said before, Foster's only been here since Wednesday, Thursday, potentially. Maybe a bit more training time to that. But those 3 signings have made a huge impact. Like Morrison is a very good leader and organiser. Kjelder has a little bit of that youthful inexperience there, but he's still a quality player. He didn't really track his man on occasion and left him out wide when he came narrow, but that's something you can fix in training quite easily. And then even with Fozu, instant impacts from Fozu. He just needed to round it off with that goal. Might have come a bit too soon for him, potentially. He found himself there and he's like, oh my God, I get to score my debut and bottled it. But as a player, he's come in and he's really applying himself to that new front 3 that we're playing. And I think if we get in another wide player, or when Washington's back from his missus having their second baby, having Chio pushed out wide, I'm very excited about that front 3. Can you imagine Fozu, Washington and Ogbene as a front 3? Factoring in having Eves coming back and Kelly coming back, who I think will suit that system as well. It's going to be quite interesting to see where we go with it now.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It's crazy the positivity that we're now breeding where we were 10 days ago. It's just unbelievable. Moving to the first goal, Mick. At the turn of the year, Shane Ferguson had 1 goal for Rotherham United. Now got 2-2, as it always happens. But again, the goal, he was just like Kev says, right place, right time. The shot from Foster was deflected, but he just took the shot off. But we look better, and Ferguson is almost epitomising how much better we are. He's had it on and off season, mostly off season, to be fair. But last week and this week, he's been brilliant, and he's key. He's so good, and he deserves his goal.
Absolutely, and make no mistake, that is a clinical finish. It's not an easy finish. He's taking the ball down, taking his time, and he's found the back of the net really, really well. That's a striker's finish, not a left back's finish. But yeah, he's been key to the way we played, and absolutely, the level has gone up tenfold from when he's been playing as a defender. So whether that's his natural position or not, well, it clearly is his natural position. Whether he knows it or not, or whether it's been that's where he's been played previously. But yeah, excellent performance from Shane Ferguson for the past 2 games, and long may that continue. The problem with him is that he's made of glass, isn't he? And is he going to see out the next 3 or 4 games without another injury? Time will tell, I guess, but hopefully he does.
Yeah. Jelly Simpson says, is he still linked with Charlton based on the last 2 performances? I hope not. Yeah, again, 10 days ago, more than that, Kev, we were saying that Ferguson's probably on his way out. He won't get the minutes he wanted. He needs to go back down to League One and play. But where do you sit now? We need more players around him because, like I said, he's got issues with staying fit. But you'd be a bit silly to let him go now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the goal he scored against Blackburn, you could see how much it meant to him and all the squad. Even Victor ran the length of the pitch to hug him. It's clearly a character and someone you want in dressing room. And the money chat we're talking, I think 50 grand or something, hardly anything. It's just literally not worth doing. And like Matt Mick says, I'm not convinced he is. That his natural position is a striker. I mean, he don't even look like a footballer, let alone a striker. Let's be right. When he's running, you think, how is he a footballer? But he's doing it. And maybe left wing, cutting in part of that front 3. But yeah, long may it continues. We can't let him go now. There's no way he's going to go. No way.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
Charlton have signed a left back, like it was announced after their game on Saturday.
Is that Matt Penny?
Yeah, so they've signed Matt Penny, so it's like, well, that's Ferguson, stay with us then. Because we've obviously found a job for him, which is on that left side or even interchangeable onto the right side as well. So I say fair play to Fergie being interchangeable.
Yeah, and to fair, Danny, let's give credit to Matt Taylor wherever we can, and to just put him there. We played against Ipswich and did okay. None of us would have predicted to play Shane Ferguson. He played on the right yesterday for the most part. Nobody in the world would have said that's where you should play him. But Matt Taylor was either brave enough or whatever, and he deserves a lot of credit for persisting with him as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the overlap that Ferguson and Helder have on the left side certainly works, that we saw against Blackburn. But even on that right side, Ferguson does look comfortable, and I think that is a bit of his experience. It's a bit of all right, I'm doing the same job just on the other side. But it seems weird that we've got the left-sided player with the right foot, and then we've got the left-footed player playing on the right. Again, it worked, and fair play to Matt Taylor for probably instilling it into training a little bit because he knew about Washington's missus having their second child. I'm told it's not happened yet. But anyway,
is this your new in the know thing? You're in the know whether the Washingtons have a kid yet?
Yeah, Matt. It's called reading Twitter. But yeah, so he's probably had a look at training and gone, right, Chio in the middle, probably the only option, and then Ferguson be pushed out. Right, he could have brought Bramall in, or even Wes Harding onto that right-hand side, but he persisted and it worked. And I think because of Ferguson's set-piece delivery ability, like Vallis was good, but Ferguson, as the commentators keep saying, has a wonderful left foot. It just gives you that bit of something else. and it's worked. And I mean, he scored with his left foot, didn't he?
Yes.
Against Watford and against Blackburn. So yeah, wonderful left foot with Fergie. I can see why Taylor's looked at him and gone, "There's a place for him in this squad," and he has probably found it. It's playing that advanced 3 role, which I believe he plays for Northern Ireland, because they play with a forward 3, I think. But if the Northern Ireland national team tweets out about Ferguson playing well in a position, it's like, yeah, he is playing well.
Yeah. Shelley IFC says Matt Taylor almost like he was crying in his interview yesterday. The guys are clearly passionate and clearly want several more through the door. Hopefully, it's some exciting times ahead. Yeah, and again, we'll stick with giving Matt Taylor a bit of credit for a few minutes, Mick, because after all, you have given him over the past month or so. He is the one that behind all this. Obviously, the players have played well, but he's changed formation. He's given ballast, and the captaincy he's doing all these great things. And we're maybe now sort of seeing his qualities, maybe even more now than we were before the World Cup.
I think, I for one gave him a load of stick, and for me, I stand by the stick that I gave him at the time, because I think the way he changed the team and the way that we were playing was wrong. However, he's man enough and big enough to have recognised that there's an issue and altered it, and that is excellent. That is absolutely what we're after. The previous management team probably wouldn't have done that, Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. But he's obviously recognised that there's an issue and he's addressed it, and he's addressed it reasonably quickly. So absolute hats off to him. He's taken what he's had and he's improved it. I still disagree with comments he made after that Millwall game, and to be fair, the last 2 games have proved that what he said was not right. But he's taken it on chin and altered it, and fantastic. And if we carry on playing like this, it's all we can ask for. It's all any Rotherham United supporter wants, is to see the performances that we've seen in those last 2 games, and the results. I'm not going to say the results don't matter, because clearly they do. But the results will come. So, and if they don't, and when they don't come, which there's going to be times when we do lose games, there'll be no criticism after the game, because we know that they'll have put in the effort that they've put in these last 2 games, and you can get rid of criticise after that. So, hats off to Matt Taylor for the changes that he's made. I think that's really, really good. A really good sign that he's a progressive manager and willing to listen.
Yeah. Paramount UK says, I agree with Mick for once, which makes me feel a bit uneasy. Thank you.
Sorry, mate.
John S says that he never liked the last manager because he changed like for like. Actually, we did like the previous manager, but he didn't like because he often changed like for like. Matt Taylor changes things if needed. He has done so far, to be fair. Not always for the better, because we mentioned the systems, but he is open to change, which you need to be in football. To be fair, you've got to be able to do that. Let's talk about the goal conceded, Kev. Yelder lost the ball halfway up the pitch, and the guy Watford have just signed from Benfica went through and scored. I mean, there's a bit of blame in a few different areas, but for me, the Yeller's obviously been a mistake, but I almost don't mind the mistake because it's a positive mistake. He was trying to get in a good area. It's just a misplaced pass, but it's still frustrating. Yeah, it is, and I think Ronnie Moore tweeted that after the game. He showed a clip, and he was right. Someone just bring him down. Just take a yellow. Just chop him down. But we held off a bit. We stood off, and to be fair, he scored a cracker goal, didn't he? But that's what happens when you sign someone from Benfica, I suppose. for a week. But yeah, disappointing to concede. But I mean, they had other chances. Victor lost. They had, I think, the post and crossbar. We had chances. The one in first half, Barlas's shot, it read in the top corner, and their goalie pulled the worldly off. Disappointing to concede that goal, but like I said, Elder made a mistake. Personally, I'd have liked one of them just to have gone through back of him and took a yellow, and that didn't happen. But yeah, moved on, and they held their own after that. I didn't really feel threatened by Watford, and they are an absolutely quality team all throughout the part. I mean, that Sarr up front and the other guy. I mean, he only been 35 million a few months back. It's mad. Yeah, we did. They had one chance. We had one chance. It sort of evened itself out, to be fair. Let's go back, Danny, and briefly just mention the kerfuffle just before half-time. Fergie got a yellow card. Backman got a yellow card. It was all a bit pathetic, to be honest with you. Thoughts? Do you think the referee got it right? I think with both yellows, or Backman a little bit lucky?
Well, if I'm being honest, lads, I only listen to it on audio because I don't have a dodgy box. But from how Toddy described it, it just sounded like a little bit of, like you said, pathetic and a bit of handbags. And from how it was described, it just sounded like the referee going, right, grow up. I'm going to book the pair of you, move on. And yeah, I'd agree with that. And if I'm being honest, I think the referee did an okay job. You know, he didn't fall for any of Watford's dark arts, shall we say. And just got on with it. It's like with Sarr going down in the box, it's just like, no, get up, carry on. And didn't fall for it. I heard the thing of, you know, we could be in for a tough second half because they're trying to get in the referee's head already, but nothing came of it. So fair play to the referee. I mean, he's had his spells of being very inconsistent, but in that game, got it on. Fair play.
He did make, and I'll let you come to the dark arts issue. I will bring this into the one conversation, but I thought the referee had a really good game. I thought he was basically consistent. He wasn't giving one way or the other. He let it flow a lot. This referee seemed to use the early season guidance of letting it flow, which I thought was really, really impressive. And I think he got every single one of the penalty claims bang on.
Yeah, it galls me to say, obviously. It doesn't at all. I thought the referee yesterday was excellent. Really did. Initially, I thought the headbutt in inverted commas on Shane Ferguson was a red. I think when I seen the replay, clearly not. Shane Ferguson's done what Shane Ferguson can do and cheated, basically, throwing himself on the floor, clutching his face. There's little to no contact. Having said that, you know, and somebody put this on Twitter today, I can't remember who it is, so I'm nicking somebody else's comment here, but you know, if the goalkeeper went down that easily, that if all we needed to do was just boot ball at him and it ended up back at net, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? It was ridiculous. But he dealt with it very, very well, and he dealt with all the rest of the. It's not dark arts, Danny. It's cheating. He dealt with all the rest of the cheating really, really well. I mean, Sarr, what a waste of space that lad is. What an absolute waste of space. What a waste of talent. You know, he's such a fantastic footballer. There's no doubt about it. He has got so much going for him. He's so talented. And he sees it, you know, all he did yesterday was try and throw himself on the floor, constantly throwing himself on the floor, cheating. And it's embarrassing. And you know, the referee absolutely nailed it as far as that sort of behaviour were concerned. So hats off to Mr. Webb. Very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. Kev, do you think, in terms of getting it right, do you think any were sort of over the line where he should have pulled it up for a booking, for diving, or do you think he just got it right by sort of playing on?
I think it probably frustrated them more by just getting on with it, playing on. I had the Watford iFollow commentary on, and their team actually said that the Watford team will make it very easy for him to make decisions because they're going down that easy. Even if they had a stone wall like the Ismail Sarr one, there were a bit of contact. But because it goes down so easy every time, referees just not falling for it. So they're almost the worst enemy by doing that. I think he got him sussed. He didn't fall for any of the theatrics. And like Mick says, he had a fantastic game. One of the best refs I've seen, to be fair.
Completely agree. Back to the goal. Mike, the Miller, Daniel, I'll come to this one, says Victor could have done better. I think Victor was maybe surprised he shot so early. It looked like he was just going to carry on with his run to defend Victor a bit, but Victor's his own worst critic, I think, and I'm sure he'll think he should have saved it.
Yeah, when I watched the extended highlights back earlier today, I thought initially, Victor could do better, but when you watch it a couple of times, it's a bit like, well, everyone could do a little bit better with closing him down, but in those positions, you don't expect him to shoot. And their player, who again, on loan from Benfica, like, But you don't expect him to shoot there. You expect the space on the right hand side. You expect him to try and occupy that space, but he's let one rip and he's scored. You know, it's a proper daisy cutter of a shot, and I really do think it's just caught everybody out. I thought Hjelde could do better with his pass to lose possession in the first place. I think people could have gone to the ball quicker, but in those situations, you get yourself organised, push your hands back just a little bit, and then occupy their men and don't let a through ball come through. But we've just given that little bit of space on the right hand side. He's seen the opportunity and he's took it, and it's just caught everybody out. Yeah, Victor can do better. He could have got down quicker. I'm sure he's watched it back and said that to himself as well. It's just a moment of quality that's caught us out. Like, how many times have we said that in the Championship as well? A moment of quality that's caught us out in an otherwise very good game. But if you'd have said 1-1 at the first whistle, we'd have all took it, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
100%. 2
points we gained from Watford this season, the team that came down from the Premier League. Like, oh, yes, please.
Yeah. There's not many teams who'll play Watford twice and not lose to them this season. So that's a good sort of benchmark for us. If you go through a few comments, John Hensby says the clear the air meeting and the bridge building between Taylor and the players is really paying dividends. I think it seems to, absolutely. Andrew Kelly, so we're playing with confidence now. You can see it in the players' attitude. And John S says you would have accepted 3 from these these 2 games, before I went into them. We've obviously ended up with 4 points, which is obviously very, very good. Let's move on to some more individual performances, Mick. Let's start with Ollie Rathbone, because it's Ollie Rathbone. We had a message from the guys who we spoke to on the previous episode from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast, and they thought that Ollie Rathbone was outstanding and that he was a constant irritation to them. And that's Ollie Rathbone for you. I thought it was, once again, he was as good as he were against Blackburn. I thought it was everywhere all the time. I said to you, I think that Matt Taylor's now just seems to have taken the shackles off Ollie Rathbone, and he's just everywhere. He's just a joy to watch.
He is, and his dad's quite prominent on social media, isn't he? And I'm sure that the term constant irritation will be something that he's very familiar with. That's the father of Ollie Rathbone, because I'm sure he has been a constant irritation throughout all his life. But yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic way of describing him. And I don't know, I'd love to see his stats, how much of that field that he covers during a game. But geez, he's absolutely everywhere. What seems to me to have developed in his game, though, is his use of the ball. You know, he was just under the old regime. He was just ratting about, breaking up play and not really having a massive amount of impact on the game in terms of, his distribution and everything else. But for me, over the last few games, it seems to have developed that part of it, and his use of the ball is really, really good as well. He's just improving game after game. We need to get him tied down pronto. Definitely, because he is as comfortable as anybody at this level, no question about it. And he must be an absolute pain in the backside for the opposition. You must dread to see him on his name on team sheet.
Yeah, he epitomises what we want, Kev, and that's again what's so important. We just want you to work hard, run around the pitch, work hard. He's got the quality to add into it as well. That's why we all take to him so much, and why the opposition know him so much, because they want time. They want to settle. They're at home, and they want a moment just to catch the breath and just go again. And he just didn't let him for a minute. It was just brilliant.
No, yeah, and that's what he does, isn't it? And like you said, his shackles have been off, and I think the way Taylor's now got him playing this new formation, it's given him much more freedom to do that in the middle of the park. And as Mick points out, his distribution's a lot better. His scoring, he's just getting better and better, and we do make right. We need to tie him down to a new deal ASAP, because there are going to be people sniffing about him 100%. I'm not sure he could play at a much higher level yet, but certainly one for the future. Like your top level championship clubs will all be wanting him to join up. But yeah, he's just improving every week, and that's that. Like I said, that's all we can ask from the team, and especially Rathbone, to chuck everything at it, and he does. I'm disappointed he didn't get booked though. I'm going to get booked. I'm a bit disappointed. He's a given, isn't it? He's a given for that. Yeah. He can do it.
Poor from him. Jalen seems to agree. We need to get him signed up. Yeah, there are 18 months because that runs our contract end of next season. But this is one of the things we've sort of mentioned previously, Danny. That one of the things that we need to get better at as a club is essentially securing our future income. Because if you sign him up on an extra couple of years contract, if somebody wants him, at some point they're going to have to pay the cash for him. This and also as a massive benefit, he is an exceptional footballer to the team as well. It should be done. Hopefully, because if we go down, he's not going to sign a new contract. That's where we are, and that's one of the reasons it's so important to get sorted now.
Yeah, it is. And this season, Ollie's come on leaps and bounds in terms of applying himself as a footballer. And if we do stay up, we'd be silly not to put a new contract on the table for him. Because like I say, it secures future assets in terms of financial things for us, but also it secures one of our better players in midfield. I know when the previous manager was here, he, excuse me, he had the laughing a joke of he's replaced 6'7" Matt Crooks with 5'2" Ollie Rathbun, and he says I'm 5'5" actually. But he's a different breed to Crooksy. He just applies himself so much more. You know, he runs about more and he gets in the faces, and he's got that fiery temperament that's passionate for the team, and he gets stuck in. And he's, I just like him. Just like him as a footballer. He's one of them footballers where you just can't quite pin on why you like him as a footballer, but you just do. And I honestly think it could be of the Frecklington persuasion in terms of influence on the football team. It's a bold statement, I know, but
it's a big shout.
I can see it.
Well, there's definitely a Frecklington bit to him. Frex was probably better on the ball, and it was a much more of a goal threat. But there are huge comparisons there. I do agree. Stephen Thomas mentions on the Crooks. Ollie is a different player to Crooks, and Stephen Thomas thinks better. And on the contract situation, Pam with UK says we need to start thinking long term. Yeah, we do. Just need to start looking ahead wherever we possibly can. Moving on to a couple of more players. Mick, I'll give you fair whack. Do you want to have a talk about Adolfin, or do you want to, I'm going to quick bit about Chio? No, Adolfin?
Oh,
Off
yeah.
you go.
So's Kev, because I know you're not a fan.
I am now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've always liked Akeem Adolfin. I really do like him, and I genuinely think he's got something to give, something to bring to the table at this level. But I think he is a player that needs game time. I don't think he's one of these that you can just drop in and out. And he was again a bit like Ollie Rathbone, but not quite. Well, nowhere near as much actually. But in the same vein, he was everywhere yesterday. You know, breaking up play, sort of almost Jamie Lindsay-esque in that respect. I don't think he won a header, but we talked about it because we watched the game together, Matt, and we talked about it at the time. He's not really there to win that header. He's there to disrupt that ball going up there and for someone else to win the second ball, and he did that really, really well. I think he's got a lot to offer to this team. I genuinely do. And he's deceptively quick as well. So really, really impressed with Akeem Adolfin, and I hope that he gets a decent run in the side, because if he does, I think he'll prove some of the doubters wrong. I genuinely think so.
Yeah. And to be fair, Kev, when the first few games are starting, Mick's right. He needs game time because he was. And again, we're talking about Ollie Rathbone being a sort of epitome of how we are now. Adolfin were a bit of an epitome of how we were playing. He just wasn't working for him. But last week and this week, maybe it's the goal last week. You know, he gets a goal, gets a bit of confidence. He looks a completely different player. Yeah,
totally. It just seemed a bit of a luxury at the beginning of the season. And I do regret tweeting that he was his worst person in the It was a bit harsh, but I totally agree with Mick. It's all about game time. He's been here over a year now, and he's never really had a run of games. And I think that's what he needs a bit. And you know, the last few games he's been brilliant. So yeah, long may that continue. His link-up play with Chio at Watford were fantastic. There were a couple of occasions they were lucky on a few flicks and turns, and if it a bit more luck, they'd have been in a couple of times. But yeah, he's growing on me. Let's leave it at that. He's growing on me.
There, Kev, just reassessing it, like it.
Yeah.
The one sort of person to feel sorry for, Danny, I suppose, it is Jamie Lindsay, because the guy's not really done much wrong, and now he's in a situation where if we continue playing in similar ways, other than injuries, there's no way back into the team for him, and I feel really sorry for him.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, he's found himself in these situations before, hasn't he? I mean, last season was the big one where we had Barlas, Rathbone and Wiles, and then Lindsay on the bench. But Lindsay probably understands that and knows to make his impact when he's called upon or when he's brought on just to reinforce midfield. I mean, look at when we played Doncaster, for example. You know, he came on, reinforced it, and then got a goal out of it. And I think in this division, it's going to be sort of similar now, especially with Wilesy out injured for the rest of the season. It's going to have to be Lindsay called upon when we need that extra body in midfield, or just when someone's flagging and they need swapping out and stuff. And Lindsay is the man to do that. He's a proper professional, gets his head down, gets on with it, and gets stuck in with it. But yeah, I mean, we all know how good of a footballer he is, and it's really gutting not to see him in the starting 11, because it's like the midfield of Rathbone, Barlasser and Lindsay, you know, really does excite you. But at the same time, Odoffin offers that something a little bit different, slightly more defensive inclined, even though he does like to push forward at times. And I think if you had to swap anybody out of the three, it'd be Rathbone, if I'm being honest. To swap Rathbone and Lindsay out, if Ollie's had a game where he's absolutely blitzed himself, just bring him out, let him rest, bring Lindsay in, fair enough. But yeah, Lindsay knows the game, I think, and he's still committed to us. He signed a new deal not too long ago, didn't he? So yeah, Lindsay, keep your head on it, son, and you'll be right.
Harry Kelly
I said son is older than me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Harry Kelly said we still need more bodies in the middle of the pitch. Yes, we do. But that's for me. So we'll talk about rumours. There's no more rumours to talk about at the minute, probably. On transfers, Michael Miller says we just don't need the rug pulled from under our feet with Barlas and Benny leaving in the next week or so. Let's sort of mention that, Mick, now that I hope and I expect, based on what Matt Tiller's saying about Rob Scott and how we all think Rob Scott works, I would have expected some replacements to be lined up for those two in the worst case scenario that those figures are hit in their transfer budget. So that's the assumption we're making, isn't it?
It is, and you know, there's still a chance that they're going to go. There's still a chance, and I wouldn't blame either of them if they did go. You just can't, because they need to be playing at a higher level than they are at the moment, and given the length of their careers, they need to be earning more money. And if they've got that opportunity, then they should accept that, no question about it. Whether they will go is another matter, I think. Whether the club will just hang on, keep them while the summer, keep us up, and then let them go on a free. There's a strong argument either way, you know, to either do that or just to take £500,000, £1 million for each of them, and hope that you can stay up. So we've got it. I think we're all resigned to the fact that both of those two players will leave, and both of those two players will play at a higher level. I think we're all resigned to that fact, and what will be will be. You know, if they go in January, they go in January. I am absolutely sure, as you say, that Rob Scott and the team will have be eyeing up some sort of replacement. I don't think. Well, you never know. You might end up with somebody better. It's possible. But players like Dan Barlasser are few and far between. They really are few and far between. And whether we're getting ready to replace him is another matter entirely. Chio, not quite so much. Chio is not as irreplaceable. I'm not. You know what I mean? I don't mean neither of them are irreplaceable, but Chio's easier replaced than Dan Barlasser for me. If they go, they go. If they don't, fantastic. They'll contribute massively to keeping us in this division.
Yeah, I agree. Carl Scott says, I can't see us letting them go. Staying was worth more to the club, but they're both put together. Yes, it is if you stay up. If you keep them both and then go down, you've lost the transfer money. If you lost the money of staying up, that's the risk that you run. It paid off last season with Smithy Nicky. That's the question, is it going to pay off this time? Oliver Wright wants to know who's on the back of your shirt, Kev.
Back of this one?
Yeah.
No, actually. It's there.
Mr. Don Ball. David Ball, not Don Ball.
David Ball. Yeah.
Different ball. Yeah, I think I agree with that, Nick. Let's talk about Chio a minute, Kev, because I thought he moved into the central role where he was great on the right last week, moved into the central role. I thought it was really good. I thought he didn't score, but I thought that was one of his best overall performances as a striker. The three as a three probably helped him, to be fair. But if that could work going forward, if we need to, that's going to work going forward.
Yeah. And I think, again, it goes back to what Matt Taylor's done with the change in the formation. It's given him a lot more space. And even though he was scoring more goals beginning of the season, weirdly, he's looking more of a threat. And I can, out of the two, I could see Chio staying. Because I think probably Middlesbrough losing today probably means they'll be back on form tomorrow with probably 1.2, 1.3 million. So, and if that comes in, he's got to take it. I love Dan Barlaser. He's fantastic. And like Mick says, they've got a short career. They've got to earn the money. So you go. But I think Chio, I'm not sure what would we get for him? He won't get as much as Barlaser. If it's $500,000, I really would say, I'm not letting you go, mate. You're gonna take a bit of a gamble, try and keep you. And I don't think even if we kept both of them, I don't think Ive will stay in the summer. So we're going to lose him at some point. But yeah, Benny, I thought he was fantastic against Watford. Like I said, we had Doffin, he linked up really well with him, and Ferguson when he switched sides. He's just a threat, isn't he? He's just so much pace, and defenders sometimes don't know what to do with him. Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah, he is 100%. Let's talk a bit more about Tariq Fosu-Soudani and the chance that he missed. He had too much time. I can't find the comment now, but he just had too much time in his hands, and I just assumed that he panicked because he could not have wished for a better opportunity. He just needed lifting, and it was game.
Yeah, I said before, I think the opportunity came to him just a little bit too quickly. You're on your debut. You've quite clearly seen that he's done well. And then he's got this opportunity, and obviously his eyes have lit up, and he's tried to control the ball and place it. And it's like, no, just put your left foot through it. It just comes to him, and all it needs is just the left foot, bang, and it's in that side of the goal, or it misses. But he tries to steady himself and place it. And fair play to Daniel Bachmann, who was very good all game. He gets his angles covered, and the Watford defence cover that right side of the goal. So even if Bachmann missed it, they would have cleared it off the line, I think. But that'll be something for Fosu to learn. If that opportunity ever does present itself again, he just knows to get some sort of contact on it with his left foot, and it's probably in. But yeah, that's why we all feel so disappointed that we didn't get 3 points out of this, because we were there. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's come to the lad who made his debut, probably came too quick, like I said, and unfortunately, Tariq, you've bottled it, mate. That's all you can say. He's bottled it, but at the same time, his head didn't go down from it. His head came straight back up, and he cracked on with it. And if he's that sort of player where he doesn't let things like that affect him and gets on with his game, he will be a very, very, very good player for us during his time.
Yeah. I agree, and I think, Mick, that was a big part of yesterday's game against Blackburn. Nothing came back at us. It didn't matter. Yesterday, it came back at us, and it came back as good as what we gave, and we conceded the goal. And if that was us 3 weeks ago, we lose 3-1 probably. We lose 3 or 4-1. We do not get anything out of that game. But even after they scored, I know they had an opportunity or two, but so did we. It wasn't suddenly our backs against the wall, and oh my God, we're holding on for a point. I thought we managed the game. People don't like the phrase game management, but we managed the game so well, and there was just no drop-off in confidence. The heads didn't go to the floor. I think that was really, really important.
That's massive. It's absolutely massive, isn't it? Because as you rightly say, 2 weeks ago, that had been 3-4-1, 5-1 to Watford. No question about it. It could have been 4 apiece. Could have easily been 4-4 that game yesterday. And neutral wouldn't have batted an eyelid at that, because that would have been a fair result. 1-1 was a fair enough result. But the key was, as you rightly point out there, when we conceded that goal, the heads didn't go down. Everything remained the same, and that's massive. That's massive because it's an indication that the confidence is there. and not only the confidence in each individual's play, but the confidence in the process, in the way that we're playing, and in the ability of the squad as a whole. So I mean, for me, that it was an excellent performance, and you wouldn't, if again, as a neutral, if you came from another country not knowing where teams were in the league, you wouldn't have been able to pick out which one were third and which one were fifth bottom. I genuinely don't believe you would. But I mean, I've got my Rotherham United specs on, so I suppose, but there's certainly, if you're not going to say that one of that squad of players is worth 70, 80 million and the other one's worth 3 bob and a blackie's egg. You know what I mean? It's just not that golfing class that the finances say is there is not there.
Yeah, agree. Come on, do a quick mention to Southampton's 2 central defenders, Kev. Sean Morrison's first 90 minutes in nearly a year. Cam Humphreys playing in the back four for the second time this season. They've already seemed to have struck up a really, really nice relationship, those two, and they seem to complement each other well. Like I mentioned, Humphreys has got that pace to be able to mop up. It's almost a Jai mopping up Woody's mistakes a few years ago, and it's and the Wood Morrison's got the experience that we all wish we had.
Yeah, Morrison, he does need. I remember at the Blackburn game, even though he had a decent game against Blackburn, you could see how they were a bit sluggish and not in match fitness. I think in 3 or 4 games' time we'll be talking. I think it is a class signing. He clearly knows how to lead from the back, and like you said, you've got Humphreys playing alongside him and does exactly that role. He mops up. Morrison's not the quickest guy. Cam Humphreys is, and it just works a treat. I mean, forget. My mind's gone blank. The left winger who's been playing amazing. Left back, sorry, really
Gelder.
quick. No, before Gelder.
Bramall.
He's even quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
That even quicker. Get him. I mean, obviously he's going to have to budge Gelder from the team now, but he's really lucky as well to be out of the squad. I thought he's been probably after the Burnley game. Burnley were talking about. Obviously, there were links with Wiles at the time, and they were like, "No way, it's him. We'll have to. We were like him. Conor Bramall is brilliant." But yeah, the back two are solid. Morrison, 3 or 4 games time, he'll be he'll be absolute class.
Yeah, well, 100%. Let's mop up some transfer stuff before we go. Joshua Hinchliffe says he thinks we're after Woodrow and Hugo. We're linked. Do we think we'll sign them? Danny, I'll take on this. I think from the rumours we hear, Hugo is fairly close. He wasn't in the Norwich squad at the weekend. I don't know whether that's a sign or not. I haven't checked if he has been in their squad, to be honest with you. But Hugo's a potential Inter.
Yeah, I've seen a few things with Hugo being linked to us. Nothing really that concrete to do with him, but he is out of favour at Norwich. There was one rumour that he was going to Derby, which is quite interesting because the previous manager has signed a young player from Norwich on loan. So might be going back to get Hugo. We'll have to wait and see. But I've just got Norwich's squad for their game against Coventry. Let's have a look. No Hugo in that squad. So could be something there. We'll have to wait and see with that one. But he is a centre forward, and we are looking to sign centre forwards and wide men now. So I'll have to wait and see with that one. And the Woodrow one, it's gone a little bit quiet. I think there was that initial rumour that popped up, but that's gone quiet as well. But if we get Woodrow from Luton, that is a cracking signing.
Yeah, it would be. He was not in the squad at the weekend for Luton. I don't know if that's down to injury or not. Coley Woodrow. I mean, this is where we are. We're looking if that player's in squad and this, that, he wasn't. Whether that's a sign or not. The kid from Manchester United as well. He's been linked again. I think he did play for Manchester United under 21s at the weekend, or certainly was in their squad. So I don't know. We don't know if we'll have to basically keep an eye on that, really. Phil Oxley wants to know, do we think Woodrow would fit into our style of play, Mick? I think he would. You put him as a centre of the 3 up front. He's got a bit of physicality about him. I don't think he's particularly slow. He's a decent finisher. There's no reason why him or like would not fit in perfectly to the system.
There's no reason at all. And it's probably the missing piece of the jigsaw, realistically. So yeah, either or both, whichever you want to do. I'm waiting with bated breath because it's going to be quite interesting. The quality of the signings that we brought in so far is top notch. Championship experience, championship quality players. So if that continues, fantastic. And both of those names, obviously, I've got quality and pedigree at this level. So either or, preferably both for me.
Is that the area, Kev, striker? Is that the area that needs to be done next? Really, that we need a striker or two at least to fill that hole.
Yeah, I think so. Midfield as well. I think because like we are going to lose one probably of Barlas, or probably Barlas might go. So definitely strengthen midfield, replace him somehow. But for me, yeah, striker. That's what I'm missing. I'm missing someone who can. We've got Kelly coming back from injury. I'm fully confident that if he gets a bit of championship football, he could score as 10+ goals. But I think that's what we're missing. Someone like Hugo or the kid from Man U. I'm sure he's a fantastic. He scored 600 goals at youth level or whatnot. But is the step up to championship football probably too big for him at that young age? So I don't know. But Hugo, I believe they're still talking to him. Norwich, the rumour is that it's his wages. Norwich want us to either take him permanently or subsidise his wages heavily. Where I think that's why he pulled over to Derby, because their embargo, they can only pay eight grand a week, I think. And Norwich want more than that. So yeah, I'd love to get Hugo. He is the missing piece. Or Woodrow, to be fair. Both can score goals. And Woodrow's used to playing with obviously Barnsley, who were similar to us, always the lesser team skill wise. So yeah, good signings. And to be fair, Tony Stewart is, we've all, me included, said a few things about him, but so far it's almost if he listens to the show and
never know.
You never know.
Yeah, well, let's wait till see what happens between now and end of window. If we sell Bradford and Bars for notes and get Note back in, then it smells.
The sign come back out then.
Tony, offer Ollie a new contract quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so there's Rathbone rumours to go to Stoke. Source off on Twitter, but don't know what to believe. I don't think there's out in that. I think Carl Scott says he's Stoke a skin. I mean, we've got Fosu because Stoke needed to get him off the wages. They've got nobody. Go on.
Stoke are not skin. Stoke are backed by Bet365. However, they are absolutely asset stripping at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're getting rid of player after player after player and not bringing anybody in. So I don't know what the plan is there. Maybe Bet365 are not. Maybe they banned too many customers for winning, and now they're having to reel it in a little bit. I don't know, but we'll see.
Even if it's financial fair play, we obviously don't know the exact of it. They might be sort of skirting the way around it. In fact, like Neil, who was just rocked up a few months ago, and then they're getting rid of everybody. I'm not really very happy. But
I mean, it doesn't make any difference financial fair play, does it? What they're going to do? They're not even going to get a slap on wrist, Stoke, are they? Because they can just pay their way out of it. So, that's irrelevant. It just seems a bit weird what's happening there at the moment. It doesn't sit right. It's another one of those sort of some red flags coming out, isn't there? Getting rid of players and not bringing anybody in at all. And there's certainly a lot of unrest, or there appears to be some unrest amongst the fan base as to what exactly is happening there. So I can't see that. Maybe they're just going to have a stupid last week of the transfer window and throw money about, but you're going to have to throw some proper money our direction if you want Ollie Rathbone. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. I have to wait and see. Shelley RC says Stoke have not gambled responsibly.
That's proper tickle me. That comment. That's brilliant.
Let's just, because we've got an enforced break now, Danny. We've got a week off because of our inability to get through the third round of the FA Cup on a regular basis. We don't play against the Sheffield United game, which is obviously going to be an incredibly tough game again. So talk about our survival chances. We sit at 31 points after 28 games. That's obviously more than the point a game, which is just about keep you if you keep going. Where are you seeing it? Again, we're only really based off probably 2 performances. This might not continue. Off these 2 performances, what are you saying? Are you saying, right, this is where we are, we can definitely stay up, or is there still a long road ahead?
I think there is still a long road ahead, but it's certainly a shorter road than it used to be. So we know what we need to do to stay up, and it looks like we're just starting to apply it now. We've had that massive run, which, to be fair, did kill us off a little bit, but when don't Rotherham have a shocking run of form? At least this, well, hopefully it's the last run of really bad form till the end of the season, and it's come before the January window, so we know where to improve, and we've so far done that. I'm still going to stick to my prediction of 16th-ish, because when it works, it really does work for us. Like, take the Blackburn game, for example. I said on the on that podcast that's probably pushed the ceiling up higher of how well we can play. Watford, it's shown that we can go toe-to-toe with the ex-Premier League teams and still grind out a result against them. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick to 16th. Also because the Championship's really tight this year, like really tight. Watford are now closer to us than they are to the top 2, and because we've drawn with them. Like, that's crazy. Third to 24th, really. It's still quite compact. Like, and then the Sheffield United and Burnley.
You can discount Wigan. They're getting cut adrift, aren't they? They'll sort of.
Little bit, yeah. But from 3rd to 23rd, it's still quite compact, isn't it? It's going to be a very, very sloppy, changey last few games, isn't it?
Yeah. Phil Oxley and John S thinks 50 points won't be enough. I still think it will, to be honest with you. I still think you're talking mid-40s, mid to late 40s to stay up, personally, but we'll see. The run of fixtures in February, this is February. Sheffield United at home, Blackpool away, Reading away, which is midweek, Coventry at home, Sunderland at home, which is midweek, and then Swansea away, which is now on Monday, which we'll talk about in a second. But there are points in there. If you take this performance and move forward, we've already shown we can beat Sheffield United. We've shown we battered Blackpool. We battered Reading. We should have beaten Coventry. We were awful against Sunderland. And we were unlucky not to get some at Swansea on day one. There's points in there. Even if it's just 6 to 9 points, you just need to keep that total moving over. And that'll see you right.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it ticking over. We've shown in the last 2 games and in games prior to the World Cup that there's nobody in this division that we need to be frightened of. Nobody at all. We can give anybody a game, anybody. And to be fair, I would argue that on our day, we could beat anybody in this division. And we've proved that. Like, as you rightly point out there, we've gone away to Sheffield United and won the game. We've gone away to Stoke, we've won the game. We've gone away to Watford the other day, and there's an argument to say we could have won the game. Not to say that we should, but we certainly could have. And we weren't outplayed. So we've nothing to be frightened of. Nothing at all to be frightened of. And there are teams in this division still who have got a lot to be frightened of. Because, that, like we've said before, the quality is not there. My view is that, and I said this at the beginning of the season, we've got enough in this squad then, and now we're adding to it not only with quality players, but also with a change in management and an improvement, I think, in the quality of the management. We should and could be extremely comfortable come the end of the season. No question about that. Whether we will be, obviously, is another matter. We've got to maintain this level. And if we do, we ain't got a problem. Genuinely, I don't think we've got a problem. We're going to be looking up, not down. I honestly believe that.
Yeah. I mean, people talk about how tight the division is, Kevin. It is very, very tight. But I take you back 2 years ago, this time 2 years ago, there were 6 points between second bottom and 14th. It's not a new thing, the Championship, of how tight it is. So people always say we just sort of double the points from here. It's never as simple. We went down with 45 points or something like that. It doesn't replicate itself. And 2 years ago, I think Cardiff went on a run. They won 4 or 5 in a row. And they were safe. And that's all it needs. You just need a bit of a run, build yourself a gap, and you're comfortable then, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's the way we're playing is probably giving us a bit more confidence. Like Mick says, we've drawn with Watford at home, drawn with Watford away, beat Blackburn, beat Sheffield United away, and none of them games, nobody can say that we were lucky or we didn't deserve it. Sheffield, we had a lot of pressure and they had a lot of possession and all that, but I don't think they had a real scoring. Blackpool certainly didn't. Watford had quality, but we done well to hold them twice. We're playing really well. And I think it's the way we're going into the games, and credit to Matt Taylor again for that, because under previous management, we would have gone there and played 4-5-1 and just sat back and tried to get something on counter. Whereas this time we're actually attacking teams and looking like we can pick up these wins. And Mick's right. I think anybody can beat anybody in this league. I don't think 45. I think 50 might be enough, but it's going to be close. We're very close. I think Wigan might get off, and they've got a 3-point suspended penalty or whatever, but that might come in. But there might be some other teams yet. It was some financial irregularities, maybe Stoke, maybe Reading. But obviously we can't rely on that. We need to do our own business, and with Mick, I think we should definitely look in up rather than down.
Yeah, 100%. Josh Ratcliffe says, we've got 42 points 2 years ago. Derby had 43, and we would have stayed up on goal difference. But if for a foul on Victor was giving us a goal. Don't say that, he'll set Mick off. Don't say that.
Don't set me off, Josh. Come on.
We've got to the hour mark. Don't set him off.
No. Well, I'm going to try and set him off now. Mick, the Swansea game. We're going to finish on this. The Swansea game, within 6 weeks of the game being played, has been moved from a Saturday afternoon to a Monday night at 8 p.m. by Sky Sports, who care so much about football fans, obviously. Is there a defence for Sky Sports at this point? Is there any way that you can say, right, I could see X, Y, and Z, they've done this all right, or is it just an absolute joke like I think it is?
How can there be any excuse? How can there possibly be any excuse? And you know what? I mean, there are people, and I can't remember the chap's name. I think it's Liam, whose birthday weekend it is. He's paid for a hotel for the weekend down in Swansea for the game on Saturday. And now it's been moved to 8 o'clock on a Monday night. What recompense does he get for that? What recompense does anybody get for any arrangements that they've made? You know, Sky are losing money by the sounds of it on their football subscriptions, and quite rightly so. I'm glad that they are. They deserve to, because they have absolutely zero interest in anything other than trying to make money and everything else. And you know, Rotherham United, they're not going to get huge subscription. They're not going to get huge viewers watching Rotherham United, or huge number of viewers watching Rotherham United games. So we're not going to be given any consideration whatsoever. You know, they're contracted to show each team from the Championship however many times. So they'll just do whatever suits them and stuff everybody else. Well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. But it stinks. It absolutely stinks. Really does.
Yeah. Another question is, Danny, that who wants to watch Rotherham and Swansea on a Monday night at 8 o'clock? Seriously, you just don't want to watch it. And I'll give you another. Sheffield United are playing Watford that weekend.
Yeah,
and I know that's a long travel. I know it'd be annoying for them to change it, but I'd want to watch that as a neutral. That is much more interesting rather than Swansea. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, right. I had quite an in-depth conversation with our lass about this, about it being moved, because we were both furious about this getting moved, because she was off work. I was going to fork out and go, and we were really looking forward to it because we like the long away days. But we're not going on a Monday night. That's ridiculous. But it's like, yeah, you'll have the people who would have travelled from Rotherham and maybe a bit more of the population of Swansea watching them games, and then potentially the neutral watching the game because they're interested in football. But like you say, surely the neutrals are more interested in Sheffield United Watford, second against third or fourth, or either Watford end up, than watching Rotherham go to Wales to a team that's like they drew 1-1 with earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Like it's not the game that should be on live TV. If I'm being honest, like it's great that we're is, and I'm going to hit record and hopefully we win. But
got a great record, haven't we? That's all the benefit.
Yeah, we've got a good record. Like maybe Sky are trying to go. We need to break Rotherham's duck of always not losing on Sky, and that's why they put it on. But it's like, it's a killer. That one we've gone from maybe taking 400-500 max to it will be lucky to if 150 are there.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And it's not first in the season, Kev. You took them in the Middlesbrough game, which were again moved to an 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I mean, they're just helping themselves, Sky Sports, and Mick talks about losing money. Well, I don't care if they're going to start messing around with football clubs like this. It's just rubbish.
Yeah, and I know it's Coventry game, but I don't think that was Sky Sports. I think that was more Coventry, but it just messes up people's weekends. I had my train tickets booked for Coventry on the Saturday, then they changed it to a Sunday, so I changed my train line at a £10 fee, and then it got canned anyway. You just lost the money. It's just crazy. They don't think of people. Like everyone says, who in the right mind would want to watch? And why is Sky Sports even thinking, well, that'd be a cracker? Swansea Rotherham, that'd be an absolute. And there's so many other games. Like you said, there's the Sheffield Watford game. There's the Lancashire Preston Wigan. That'd be a cracker. Local derby and whatnot. Middlesbrough West Brom. Surely neutrals want to watch that. They don't want to watch us.
I wonder if we can't be the only team in the country going, why do you want to watch us?
Unless they want us to, unless they know Swansea obviously on the day they are a good team, unless they want them to thump us 4 or 5-0 and a bit of entertainment. But it's a strange decision. It's just not fair on fans. They don't think about the fans one little bit. It's just so wrong.
There's not enough notice for it. This should be done 3 months in advance. TV games should be done really, really far in advance. It's like literally 6 weeks. It's just not good enough. But Sky don't care. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? Right, I think
just to ramble on about Sky, but then the Sheffield United game, which is a local derby, isn't on Sky.
Yeah, no.
That'd draw some bare attention from neutrals. That Sheffield United against Rotherham. Oh, Rotherham beat them earlier in the season. A
team that's going up basically against.
A team that's basically going up versus the team fighting relegation, and the one that's fighting relegation won earlier in the season, and it's a local derby. They get a fair few million viewers on that, but Rotherham Swansea.
Burnley Huddersfield on the same night. Rotherham when they've moved house. Like I say, you want entertainment, Burnley will probably knock 5 or 6 by Huddersfield. So get that one on.
Dear me.
Wayne says the positive is Swansea will save a fortune. They get some TV money and they get less police and steward costs. I suppose that's true for Swansea, but we don't care about them. Anything else anybody wants to mention before we knock it on Ed?
I mean, just to say that we were bang average yesterday and shouldn't really have. Should have been a straightforward 3 points for Watford. I mean, that must be true because somebody on telly said it. So
it were nice to hear Slaven Bilic. Obviously, he didn't say too many nice things about us, but he did say that the best chance of the game did fall to us. So they were backhanded compliment. But it would be nice for an opposition manager to come out and actually say, you know what, these guys deserve a bit of credit, but they never will.
No, not true.
They won't. They'll just say teams like Rotherham and stuff like that, as they do.
And all I'll say, lads, is we should be really beating teams like Watford.
Very good. Very good.
I mean, it's a fair comment, and I don't see how anybody could possibly disagree with that. Anybody?
Absolutely. Rotherham should be in Premier League.
Yeah.
Tony.
Hang on a minute, Elton John's ringing me. Bear with me.
Oh, that's going to come back and bite me, isn't it?
It might. Right, we'll do it there. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe on YouTube. We're 86 something. We're chasing 900 very shortly, hopefully. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, please make sure you have subscribed on there and give us a 5-star rating if you can as well. We will tweet out the link for the Just Giving page for Henry Evans later after this. Danny sent me the link, so I'll tweet that out for anybody that's that can or want to share it or donate. And follow Kev for the shirt giveaway over the next week or so over there. So Mick, thank you very much. teased it. Got a rant out at your end, which is what I aim to do every week. Thank you very much.
What about
Yeah.
what did I rant about? I don't remember ranting, but there you go.
Sky.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Great shower.
Thank you for being with us, Kev. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, mate.
No problem. Well, if we carry on this good transfer window, I might come on with a Team Stuart t-shirt next time. So, yeah.
Stuart in. Yeah. And Danny, a pleasure to speak to you, mate. Thank you for being with us.
Yep, always a pleasure. Looking forward to having a look at this auction for Kev's Rotherham Hospice thing, and there are things in the works for my own Rotherham Hospice thing. Details coming shortly.
Mike Miller says, "Are we on Thursday? Are we back on Thursday?" No, we're not going to do an episode on Thursday because there's nothing good. There's no game to preview. We may do an episode next Sunday, depending on transfers. If there's been 3 or 4 signings, we'll probably do an episode to talk about that. But we're going to allow me, Mick, and Danny a Thursday off, which our partners will be very happy about, probably.
No, I'm not pleased with that. She's not going to be happy with that.
But anyway, we'll see you all next week at the earliest. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it